ನೀನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ವಾ ವಿಡಿಯೋ? Thank you, Sankarshan, for your wonderful introduction. Is it audible? Okay. Good morning, one and all. At the outset, I offer my respectful pranams to Sri Suttur Mutt and also 14 Karnataka Battalion for organizing this one-day webinar for NCC cadets. It's my pleasure and opportunity. I would like to thank Colonel Roshan B. Appanna given me an opportunity to conduct this one-day webinar for NCC cadets on disaster management. I had taken his guidance and all those things, a kind support. With his kind support, I am able to present a webinar. So, my dear cadets, today in this session, we are going to learn about the disaster management, how, what are the roles, how the NCC is going to play in that one. So I'm not going to take much of your time. So directly, I'm going to move into the session. I'm going to present using the slides. Once again. Okay, due to internet problem. Sorry for 2 minutes delay. Uh, so Sankarshan, can you able to see the PPT? Okay, then. Okay, thank you. Once again, good morning and Jai Hind. So today, I'm going to present on the session called Disaster Management and Role of NCC. Since the beginning of civilization, human society, natural environment, and disaster have been closely interlinked. Natural disaster and the increasing environment degradation worldwide are serious threat to development. Natural disasters threaten all three dimensions of development to include economic, social, and environmental. These losses are growing largely due to the increasing concentration of population and investment in vulnerable locations, as well as inadequate measure to reduce risk. So in this class, the cadets is going to acquire the knowledge about management of various types of disasters at various level. It is the aim which we are going to get from this one information. And also the preview in section 1, I'm going to speak on types of emergencies, natural disaster. In section 2, what are the role of NCC during natural hazards? And also in section 3, traffic control in disaster management under police supervision. Section 4, disaster management during earthquake. And also in section 5, setting up relief camp during disaster management. And finally, we will have conclusions. The term disaster is commonly used to denote as event, natural or man-made, which gives about immense misery to a region and it becomes difficult to cope with the situation through local resources. This disaster management cycle has four stages: risk reduction, readiness, response, and recovery. Risk reduction is the accumulation of a three-part process that includes risk identification and assessment. If you are going to classify the disaster, generally we are going to classify based on nature on onset. One is natural disaster and also another one man-made disaster. In natural disaster, it may be wind related, water related, as well as earth related. Wind related may be storm, cyclone, and tidal waves, etc. The water related may be flood, cloud burst, flash flood, excessive rain, and drought. Earth related may be earthquake, tsunami, avalanche, landslides, and volcanic eruptions. Next is man-made disaster. It may be accident, it may be in road, rail, air, sea, building collapse, etc. Industrial mishaps like gas leakage, explosive, and in fire it may be in building, coal, and oil. Whereas forest fire, In tropical countries, forest fires are often made by man-made. Contamination, poisoning. It may be under food, water, and epidemic. Terrestrial activity is also a man-made disaster. Ecology, pollution, air, water, noise, soil degradation, loss of biodiversity, global warming, sea level rise, toxic waste, and nuclear accidents. And also warfare, conventional, it may be chemical or nuclear. These are all comes under man-made disaster. So here I'm going to give the brief about some important ones only. We are going to discuss about earthquake, tsunami, volcano, landslides, hurricanes, flood, and droughts. So one by one, I'm going to give a brief introduction about that one. The first one is earthquake. So it layer of rock made up the earth surface. Rocks do not bend or break easily. Tension caused by movement of earth plates build up over the years until the rocks can take the strain no longer. Suddenly, they crack and shift, sending out shock waves and reducing anything built on the surface of rubble, means it's nothing but waste. This is what we call as earthquake. The tsunami will come, a giant wave is caused by an undersea earthquake. Vibration rush through the ocean at hundreds of kilometers an hour. When they reach shallow water, they slow down and build up into vast waves, at times 76 meters or 250 feet tall. The tsunami crashes onto the shore, swiping away anything in its way. So that is about tsunami. Now I'm going to move for volcano. Volcano is like a wand or chimney to the earth's surface from a reservoir of molten rock called magma deep in the crust of the earth. The eruption occurs when slabs of rock forming the earth's surface called plates begin to move. When old plates collide and one in ground down beneath the next, the plates melt and produces very violent volcanoes. A study shows that approximately 600 volcanoes are active or have erupted. On an average, about 50 volcanoes erupt every year. At present, about 10% of the world population lives on or near potential dangerous volcanoes. Next is landslides generally occurs as secondary effects of every rainstorm, earthquake, and volcanic eruption. It occurs as a result of change, either sudden or global or gradual, in the composition and structure of rocks or hydrology or vegetations of the slope. It covers a wide variety of landforms and process involving the movement of soil under the influence of gravity. Hurricanes, sometimes called tropical cyclone, typhoons. Hurricanes can rise up trees, destroy crops, and flatten buildings. Rapid rain causes flooding, and coastal region may be swamped, flood with water by huge waves, wiped up by winds that blow as fast up to 300 kilometers per hour. So flood, it can arise from abnormally having precipitation, dam failure, rapid slow melting, river blockages, or even burst water mains. It is usually sudden in onset. Drought. If less rain over about 2 weeks, there is a less than zero point 0.2 millimeter of precipitation. There is said to be a drought. Without reservoir, there is not enough water for people and crops. Generally, drought situation may be defined as a temporary reduction in water or moisture availability significantly below the normal or expected amount for a specified period. Drought is a slow onset phenomena. So here, so this is about the disaster we have discussed. So next we are moving. What are the role of during the disaster? What are the role of NCC during natural disaster? So NCC plays a significant role in the management after effect of natural calamities and disaster. With its organizational capability, strength and quality of its cadre, involvement of NCC in disaster relief will provide able assistance to the nation as well as avenue to the youth in showing its commitment to the society. Play a significant role in forming correct attitude, feelings of sympathy in respect of fellow human beings, and also results in person growth and improved self-image of the cadet. The NCC will in turn benefit immensely with its enhanced images. Cadets being young and exuberant can be selectively employed through correct selection of area of intervention. The process of teaching our cadets and strict supervision of their activities will ensure success of cadets. Some disaster situation may, however, demand functioning of cadets on their own. Ordinarily, participation should be restricted to second or third year senior division or senior wing cadets only, and selection of boys and girls should depend on area and distance from hometown. And what is the role of NCC? NCC cadets can actively assist this state system in management, which could take shape in the form of traffic management under supervision, search and rescue, first aid and evacuation of rescued people, helping in setting up and administration of relief camp, collection, loading, and dispatch of medical aid, materials, food, and other articles of relief, conduct of cultural and recreational activities for victims to boost their morale at later stage. Points for consideration. NCC is an extracurricular activity of students, and the cadets are not like embodied soldier available at all times. Some points for employment of cadets are as under. JD or JW. Cadets are young and may not be considered suitable for such operation. SW's cadets may be used for softer job like providing medical assistance or managing exchange during strikes of nurses or telephone operators. Only SD cadets may be found suitable for helping in natural calamities like earthquake, landslides, and floods. Suitable bond would be required to be obtained from parents of cadets. Cadets are never readily available to be assembled at short notice because they are busy with their studies at schools or colleges. It is only during camp that cadets are available and can be launched a short notice. Cadets are not suitably trained for specialized tasks related to disaster management. Suitable training must be given to them during institutional training. Adequate allowance would require to be allocated for the cadets taking part in these activities. Joint schemes with the state disaster relief missionary would be required to be made in which NCC cadets may be incorporated. And also adequate signal equipments and other disaster relief equipments would be required to be authorized to NCC to carry out necessary training. NCC cadets would have to carry out rehearsal along with the army, police, firefighting forces, and other in the state. NCC is required to actively participate in disaster relief management in concerned state. Therefore, there is a need for coordinating body for emergency relief efforts with each state government. The objectives of such a coordinating body could be strengthen the role of NCC in emergency preparedness, emergency response, and also mitigation. Next, do's and don'ts during disaster. So, in an earthquake, if a cadet or some parents are living near to the earthquake, if you live in an earthquake-prone area, what are the do's and don'ts should be done during disaster is given in the list. Learn about the cases and effect. Speak about them in a calm and composed manner. Keep in a handy place a torch and a portable transistor radio. Arrange your home in such a way that it is possible to move easily, keeping corridors clear of furniture and toys. Attach shelves, gas cylinder, vases, and flower pot to the walls of your home. Place heavy or bulky object on the floor or on the lowest shelves. Teach all members of your family how to turn off the electricity, water, and gas supply. During an earthquake, keep calm and keep others calm. If you are at home or inside a building or an auditorium, do not rush to the doors or exits. Never use the lift. Keep well away from window, mirror, chimneys, and furniture. Protect yourself by staying under the lintel of an inner door, in the corner of a room, under a table, or even under a bed. If you are in a street, walk towards an open space in a calm and composed manner. Do not run and do not wander the streets. Keep away from buildings, especially old, tall, or detached buildings, electrical wire, slopes, and walls which are liable to collapse. If you are at driving, stop the vehicle away from building, walls, slopes, electrical wires, and cable, and stay inside the vehicle. So after the earthquake, keep calm, switch on the transistor radio, and obey any instruction you hear on the radio. Keep away from benches and low banks of river. A huge waves may sweep in. And also, culture of prevention during earthquake. Turn off the water, gas, and electricity. Do not smoke and do not light matches or use a cigarette lighter. Do not turn on switches. There may be a gas leakages, or it may be becomes a short circuit. Use a torch. If there is a fire, try to put it out. If you cannot, call the fire brigade. If people are seriously injured, do not move them unless they are in danger. Immediately clean up all inflammable products that may have spoiled, like alcohol, paints, etc. Avoid places where there is a loose electrical wire and do not touch any metal object in contact with them. Do not drink water from open container without having examined. And also you should eat something if you feel better and more capable for helping others. If your home is badly damaged, you will have to leave it, collect water container, food and ordinary and special medicine. Do not re-enter badly damaged building and do not go to near damaged structure. Do not walk around the street to see what was happened. Keep clear of the street to enable rescue vehicles to pass. So this is about earthquake. Now we are moving for cyclone. So if cyclone appears first, what you have to do, listen to the radio for advanced information and advice. Allow considerable margin for safety. A cyclone may change direction, speed, or intensity within a few hours. So stay tuned to the radio for updated information. In flood condition, listen to the radio for advanced information and advice. Disconnect all electrical appliances and move all valuable personal and household goods and clothing out of reach of flood water. If you are warned or in your suspect that flood water may reach the house, move vehicle, farm animals, and movable goods to a highest ground nearby. Prevent dangerous pollution. Move all insecticides out of reach of the water. Turn off electricity, gas, and lock all outside door and windows if you have to leave the house. Do not enter floodwater on foot if you can avoid it. Never wander around a flooded area. So next, we are moving for traffic control in disaster management under super under police supervision. So here, NCC cadets are a genuine and potential workforce who can be utilized to head the civil authorities during such periods. While civil authorities are short or trained personnel, however, however, for the cadets to be useful employed, it is important to educate them on the role of traffic police during such situations. So, some of the objectives of traffic police. So, to help in smooth handling of a disaster situation from law and order point of view, to help in providing adequate safety and security to the protected persons and the common people affected by the disaster, to help in securing the property of people affected by the disaster, to assist in evacuation of the injured person to a nearby hospitals on priority, to ensure crowd control at the affected place as well as respective aspects hospitals and to prevent riots, looting, etc. To ensure all possible help to the fire service, medical and other paramedical personnel in handling the disaster. To help in ensuring proper access to the fire brigade, ambulance, VIPs and other functionaries authorized to carry the relief operations. To help in ensuring collection of intelligence of the possibilities of such disaster, to help in proper identification of death and injured, to help in adequate mobile patrolling in and around the affected area, to help in adequate mobile patrolling in and around the affected area, to ensure that all official responsible to deal with the situations are thoroughly conversant with their duties and responsibilities. The responsibilities of traffic police and employment of cadets should be in a, during disaster management stages are as under. One is immediate action, initial law and order, coordinating the entire area, affected area shall be cordoned off and no collection of crowd be allowed there. Cadets can be used to cordon off affected areas. In initial law and order, local traffic police shall rush to the spot and ropes, such lights and other items for maintaining law and order. Cadets can be incorporated with local police personnel. Casualty management. The traffic police play an important role in traffic control and guidance in the chain of evacuation of casualties and injured person shall be evacuated to a nearby hospital by the vans, ambulance, and other modes of conveyance. Cadets can accompany the casualty or by employed as a pointsman or liaison officer at hospitals. In traffic flow, no traffic shall be allowed to pass through an affected area and necessary diversion shall be made accordingly. Diversion points can be manned by cadets in coordination with traffic police. Emergency vehicle. The local traffic police shall ensure clear passage for emergency vehicle until traffic arrangements are made. Cadets can be employed to check and ensure that only emergency vehicles are permitted to the right of way. Rescue service. Yeah, help shall be provided to the rescue service and volunteers in all possible manner. This will include guiding the fire tender, ambulance, etc. to the place of incident through a clear route. Cadets can be incorporated. Cadets can be incorporated by rescue services and volunteers to guide and escorting them. And also in adequate reserve. Adequate force be kept at the scene of occurrence for traffic control. Cadets can form a part of the reserve forces to aid traffic police. Maintenance of record of incidents. The entire scene of incident must be videographed as early as possible with a view of reconstruct the scene of occurrence. During the course of investigation, cadets can be employed to videograph and carry out tasks in maintaining of records of incident. Now, after this, now we are in an earthquake. What are the characteristics and what are the damages, and also the role of NCC in an earthquake, how the NCC will play into role. It has been given. Earthquake are considered to be one of the most dangerous and destructive natural hazards. The commencement of this phenomena is usually sudden with little or no warning. It is not yet possible to predict earthquake and to make preparation against damages and collapse of man-made structure. Earthquake generates a set of horizontal and vertical vibration of the ground, which results in destructions of structure. Earthquakes may be defined as a natural phenomenon, which tend to create a panic due to the trembling vibrations or sudden undulation of portion of earth crust caused by splitting up of a mass of rock or by volcanic or other disturbances. The characteristics of an earthquake is the basic characteristics is it is not yet possible to predict magnitude, time, and place of occurrence of an earthquake. The onset is usually sudden. Earthquake prone areas are generally well defined, identified, and well known on the basis of geological features and past occurrence of earthquakes. Major effect arises mainly from ground movement and fracture or slippage of rocks underground. The obvious effect includes damage to building and infrastructure along with considerable casualties. The world's earthquake problem seems to be increasing with the increased population, high rise building and crowded cities. In general terms, typical impact and effect of earthquake disasters tend to be loss of life, injury, damage or destructions of property, including crops, disturbance of production, disturbance of lifestyle, loss of livelihood, disruptions of essential services, damage to national infrastructure, and disruptions to administrative and organizational system, sociological and psychological after effects. These are the effects after the earthquake if happens. So next is organization. To effectively carry out the task and render timely assistance, it is necessary that NCC be organized into sector and subsector without disturbing the existing command and controlled structure. Each state could be divided into number of sectors, those sector to conform to the areas of responsibilities of group with group commander. Subsectors are organized on the same analogy. The sector and subsector commander should maintain a close license with the civil administration. They should keep an update on the reservoir available in their respective area. They must refresh themselves with the disaster relief plans of the civil administrator. All sector and subsector commander will maintain an informative folder which will have the following data of their respective areas: roadmap of their area of responsibility, list of primary health center and government hospitals and their locations, list of private medical aid center, hospitals and their locations, names, addresses and telephone number of all state functionaries including ANOs and PI staff, details of army units likely to be deployed, details of civils relief program already drawn up, existing communication network, government shops, godowns from where rations can be immediately drawn, availability of transport, both government as well as a private. Now, a setting up of relief camp during disaster management and also role of NCC in this one. NCC cadets are trained and organized youth can contribute immensely for conditioning and preparing the local in mitigating effects of disaster. The location of a displaced person camp may range from a spontaneous to an organized settlement, from over a wide area to a concentration in a very limited area, from rural settlement to urban settlement. The criteria for site selection, what are the criteria? So one is social needs. It must circumstances the choice will be limited and any land meeting even minimum standard may be scarce. Only a site is located, it is wished to determine the reason to select or reject the examine whether the reason would exclude use by displaced people. And also water. The single most important site selection criteria is the availability of an adequate amount of water on an year-round basis. It should be an open space. The site must provide a sufficient amount of usable space for the displaced population. WHO recommends a minimum of 30 square meters per person. 212 plus the necessary land of communal and agricultural activities and on livestock. Next is accessibility. The site must be accessible by vehicle and close to communication link, sources of supplies and services such as food, cooking fuel, shelter material, and national community services. And also environment. The area should be free for major environment health hazards, potential disease, and harmful insects such as mosquitoes and testy fly. Climatic conditions should be suitable for habitation throughout the year. So next, the soil and ground cover allow for water absorption and retention of human waste. Rocky or impermeable sites should be avoided. If possible, land suitable for vegetable garden and small scale agriculture should be selected for this site. And also next one, the land should be exempt from ownership, rights or grazing and other uses by local population. Any use of this land must be based on formal legal arrangements in accordance with the law of the country. Transit center. There may be a need to set up a reception or transit center through which displaced people passes on the way to a long-term settlement site. Their centers must have same consideration as those relevant to long-term settlement. Next is site planning. At the onset of an emergency, the immediate provision of essential goods and services is more important than efforts. To change the way people have already arranged themselves, site planning should take potential needs for expansion into account. Site planning should first consider the characteristics and needs of the individual family and reflect the wishes of the community as much as possible. A displaced person settlement is not a natural community. Particularly, care will be required to ensure that special needs are met. The overall physical layout of the site, as well as other aspects of the site, should reflect a decentralized community based approach focusing on family, village, or ethnic group. And also the specific infrastructure design consideration. There should be latrines. While water requirements often determine site selection, sanitation requirement can dictate the site layout. If latrines are used, there should be at least one for every 20% to avoid contaminating water resource. Latrine should be have an effective drainage system that is easy to repair both for rainwater and wastewater. And also next one is water distributions. Water will often be pumped from the source to an evacuated point in order to allow gravity feed distribution. Roads and pathway sites should be accessible from other sites and contain all weather roads and pathways connecting the various areas and facilities. And also, finally, the administrative and Community services. At the onset of an emergency, it may be difficult to foresee all the administrative and community services likely to be required. Therefore, where adequate space is available, free area must be allocated for future expansion of these services. The following administrative and community services are often required. One is likely to be centralized. What are the centralized things one should be there? One is camp administrative office, essential service coordination office. It may be healthcare, water supply, tracing services, repair facilities, overhauling, etc. These are the likely, it should be a centralized point. And likely to be decentralized. Bathing and washing areas, community services like health center, social service center, supplementary feeding centers, and also educational facilities, institutional centers, such as such as for the disabled or unaccompanied old, infirm, and children. And also the physical layout should be the basic principle of any physical layout of a camp is that it should be organized into small community units. The location of centralized service will depend on the specific situations and in particular the space available. Warehouses should be located near the administrative office for security reasons. And also for shelter must provide protection from the elements, space to live and storage belongings. Privacy and emotional security. Shelter is one of the most important determinants of giving general living conditions and is often one of the largest items of non-occurring expenditures. So these are the sections which we have completed. Finally, we will wind up with an conclusion said that the NCC plays a vital role in character building, discipline, leadership qualities, national integrity, and patriotism among the students. Director General of NCC said that although NCC cadets were not trained to assist in situations like flood, they would provide help in disaster management whenever there was a need. And also, he had told that we will not come in the forefront to assist in disaster management, but we are going to serve from the behind. So from this, the overall conclusion is that NCC plays a major role and also they have got a leadership quality to assist during the natural disaster. With this, I'm going to conclude my session. If you have got any queries, that will be posted there. So the Sankarshan is going to uh, send me the question. I'm going to answer to the queries, right? Sankarshan, over to you. Effects of. So generally, we have discussed it may be a loss of life, injury, it may occur damages to or destructions of property, including crops, disturbance of production, disturbance in lifestyle, livelihood, disruptions of essential services which we are going to need, and damages to national infrastructure and disruption to administrative and organization system. There may be a psychological effect also. These are the general effects of earthquake which we is going to mention. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is also one type of a disaster of mankind. because since it is been spreading all over the world, I think it may be considered as one of the disaster also. But till now, the what we are going to do from all the from the world, they are creating then injections to cure that. Still, it is not possible. Only certain social distances and avoid that can also be sure it can be considered as a disaster also. It one type of disaster. That one has to be directed from DG NCC. So still now it has not been any, but the social distances and awareness has been taken all over the country. The where NCC cadets were adopted to tell the uh, people that you should maintain social distance, covering a mask. That has been done, but we could not able to directly get into that without having any order from higher authorities. Okay. Oh, okay. Mm. Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay. Sure. For relief camp measures. One second. So, so the measures this should be taken. One should be social needs for the people, and there should be water facilities, and it should be open space, and should be accessible to all the things, or like road, rails, or whenever the food items is to come, they should be easily accessible, and the environment should be clean, and soil and ground cover should be flat, and there should not be any rocks, they should be flat, and also a land right should be there, whereas and also the transient center should be there. So these are the basic relief camps criteria for site selections. Okay. Okay. So that one has to be asked through the battalion. So right now I don't have any information regarding that. So if you go to the concerned battalion, so they will give the information regarding this. Okay, is there any other questions or queries so that we can answer? Okay. Mm. Ah, okay, sure. Okay. Okay. Before going to the I want to say some words regarding this webinar. This webinar is conducted especially for the cadets, so that in this pandemic COVID-19, all the cadets are at home. I think they are safe. They should tell the neighbors they should wear the mask, and they should maintain social distance and avoid unnecessary roaming here and there. So they should create an awareness. If they have got an idea, so they can create an awareness, so that will be useful information for NCC cadets. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Sankarshan for his helpful and informative things, which this seminar could not be happen. So I wholeheartedly thankful to Sankarshan, and also I would like to thank our commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Roshan B. Appanna, and also Subedar Major Govind for their support. And also I would like to thank my college, JSS College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Muti Road, and also JSS Mahavidya Pita, and also all the participants who have participated here. I think they have got a little bit idea about the disaster management, and it will be useful for their examinations also. So with this, I thank all the participants, officers, and all the persons who have joined this webinar. Further, the webinars will be conducted for cadets. So the such type of webinars. So you can have a in the chat box. You can suggest that on what topic the battalion should conduct the webinar. So it will be useful for the cadets. With this, I thank all one and all. Jai. Sankarshan, over to
Th-
you.
Thank you, sir. Uh, Now I would like to thank Lieutenant Dr. L. Vinay Kumar for a wonderful lecture on this. Further, there is a option to fill any suggestions or comments. There you can suggest the future topics to be conducted for the cadets. Now we shall have a formal vote of thanks. I would like to thank 14 Karnataka Battalion NCC Mysore for organizing this webinar. I would like to thank the principal and management of JSS College, Ooty Road, Mysore for giving an opportunity. I would like to thank Lieutenant Colonel Roshan B. Appanna, Commanding Officer, 14th Karnataka Battalion, NCC Mysore. I would also like to thank Subedar Major Govindappa, 14th Karnataka Battalion, NCC Mysore. On behalf of the organizing committee and 14th Karnataka Battalion, NCC Mysore, I would like to thank all the participants, officers, cadets, and finally, I would like to thank one and all. Thank you.
Thank you.